welcome to the Travel Wins podcast. My guest today is Brad Boyle. He's the CEO of JIFU, a travel incentive company. I guess is the best way to describe it. How are you today, Brad?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk to you.
Appreciate the time, buddy. You know, that anybody that you travel more than me, so I always appreciate talking to people that travel.
Yeah, I love to travel. I think it's a great way to obviously you see the world and do things, but what my favorite part about it is when I take my kids, my wife and family and stuff, we get them, right? That's the best part. There's no kids, there's no iPads, there's no phones, we get them. And that's what we love about traveling on a personal level, right?
Exactly. So what exactly is JIFU?
So JIFU, as obviously there's a lot of online travel agencies out there, right? Yeah. There's Expedia and hotels.com and things like that, right? And what's strange, most people don't realize this, but Expedia and Priceline own the majority of all the online travel agencies. So Expedia, for example, owns hotels.com. They own Travel Advisor. They own just about the majority of them are actually, they own the majority of them. Whereas Priceline and Booking.com, strangely enough, are actually bigger outside the United States. Whereas I think they're in second place here in the United States, right? But what's really funny is everybody always says, "Oh, I use hotels.com. It's way cheaper than TripAdvisor or whatever," right? There's people that really believe that. Well, they're actually the same price, right? They just show it a little bit differently. So people, it's fun to kind of listen to what people say. No, hotels.com is definitely cheaper. So we looked at it and we said to ourselves, okay, wait a second. Those companies are making a massive amount of money. They spend a ton of money on marketing, right? So we looked at it and we said, okay, what if people could just pay a monthly fee to have access to the JIFU travel portal, okay? Yeah. And when they do that, we don't make any money on the travel itself, none. So the way that we monetize is through that monthly fee, and you can become a member of JIFU for $25. So if you believe that you can save more than $25 in a month, and again, it's month to month, there's no long-term contracts, there's nothing. But essentially you come in and whatever money Expedia, Travelocity, Booking.com would make, you actually keep yourself. So
my question to you, because I watched a lot of your videos. When I heard that, you kind of blew my mind about how they own each. It's kind of like how Amazon now Amazon just bought MGM today.
Oh, I didn't know that.
For $8.5 billion or whatever.
Why not? Right.
So it's just MBT in front. It doesn't matter.
What's the difference, right?
But it made sense when I saw the video when you said that.
Yeah.
And I think that the crux of what you have to do is marketing.
Yeah.
Expedia spent millions of dollars.
Oh, so much money.
Millions. And TripAdvisor, Booking, and hotels.com. I mean, millions.
So much.
And that's why they need to make their profit margins.
That's right.
On what they sell.
That's correct.
Because they don't charge the $25. So I mean, how do you get to that level without spending the tens of millions of dollars they did on advertising?
A lot of ours is word of mouth. So we have affiliate programs where if for example, if you told your friend, hey, check out JIFU.com, they use your code to become a member, we actually pay you for that referral. It's very simple.
It's kind of like the affiliate codes, right?
That's correct. Yep. So yeah, you sign up, you actually have your own website, and you can share it with people, and it's really simple. And we look at it as we would prefer that our members get that money, right? Rather than Expedia or realistically, Google and Facebook. They, the amount of money that they spend on advertising on Google
what I'm saying.
Is massive, right? So again, you're centralizing that money again, whereas it's not really getting out into the people who are actually using it. So we see people save so much money, and the amount of money I've saved since we started JIFU is crazy. I mean, I'm almost at 2 million miles on Delta alone, lifetime. And I think, you think that's a lot of miles, right? But that also came with a lot of hotel rooms, right?
A lot of everything.
Yeah. I mean, I've been traveling internationally since I was 18 years old, actually. And the amount of money that we spend on hotels is crazy. And what's fascinating is a lot of times we'll see hotels actually get less revenue than the online travel agencies do. That's when I go, wait a second, there's an imbalance here, right?
Yeah.
So, my neighbor next door to me, he owns, their family, and they own a company that manages, I think it's about 45 hotels, right? And when vacancies are low, those hotels keep dropping the price to try to incentivize people to actually, to get the big online travel agencies to actually show that first. Because if you go into Expedia's front page and you say, how do we show our listings? They actually have a disclaimer there. And they will actually say in that disclaimer, we will show the hotels, our listings are affected by how much money we earn.
Yeah.
Okay, so think about that. You're looking at the best deals. You're thinking
for them.
The best deal. It's the best deal for them.
Yeah.
Whereas we show ours based on the best deal for the consumer. So
the questions I have for business travel, because business travel is different than pleasure travel.
Sure.
It sounds like because you're getting a list of hotels that are cheap. So let's say I want to plan a trip to Hawaii for, I don't know, let's just shoot early May.
Okay.
Is it a good? Can I find the hotels now?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay, so it's not the last minute thing, right?
No, not at all. Okay. Pricelines, these are great companies. I don't want you to think that I'm denigrating these at all. They've provided a great service. In fact, to a large degree, they've democratized travel, right? It makes it easier. It's more affordable. It's more accessible, right? I remember as a kid, we'd go travel places and we'd go stay in people's homes more often than hotels. Whereas now people, that's kind of this weird thing, right? Go visit friends, but stay at a hotel, right? Because people have access and they can see it. But the databases that are out there, okay, Expedia has a wholesale database for sure, but they're also utilizing other wholesale databases as they go out into the world, right?
Right.
So when you look, you're not seeing a negotiated rate by Expedia or Priceline or Travelocity. You're just seeing access to these hundreds of databases, which are separate companies. These separate companies go, and they're the ones that create these contracts with the hotels.
Okay.
Right. So when they create those contracts, they put it into their database. And then as vacancy starts getting lower and lower, these hotels will, it's an algorithm. They start saying, okay, I've only got 30% of my rooms booked, next week. I need to lower my price a little bit so that I get listed higher on these online travel agencies. So we have the same access to those databases. So we're pulling from the same databases as all the other online travel agencies. The difference is, again, I'm not making money every time you book it. Yeah.
Can you do anything about the frustration of going to Las Vegas and most hotels? God, I'm sure you have the stories too. Sure. I book a room for $179. I get there, and I have a resort fee.
Yeah.
Which is $50.
Yep.
I have to pay for. I went to Dallas in January. I had to pay for parking.
Yeah.
It was a parking lot. It wasn't like stacked housing, parking. It was just a parking lot, $20 a night.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? So the 179 turns into, $260.
Yeah. And again, that's part of the overarching issue, right? Is that these hotels are not making as much money as the online travel agency is. Yeah. So they have to find other more creative ways to actually pull in revenue. Right. And you're right. That is a frustration. There's nothing worse than booking a hotel room, right? Or booking a cruise. Again, we have cruises, we have condos. This may offend some of your listeners, but we say timeshares are a sucker's bet. And we took that from a quote from the Wall Street Journal, because people go and they feel like, oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun at Waikoloa, Hawaii. I want to come back again. Here's $30,000. You don't need to do that, because there's also vacancy in those as well too. So our members can actually go in and book vacant timeshares, right? They can
Which
book
I've done. Yeah.
It's a great way to do it. Right.
Yeah.
But again, where the online travel agencies are making, revenue wise more than the hotels. Do you mind if I just share my screen really quick and I can show you?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Really quick.
This is cool. This is the first guest that's done it.
Oh, well, go ahead. And if you don't mind, let me share my screen. It says that you've disabled sharing.
Oh. That's why. How do I do that?
I have mine set to automatic to allow.
I didn't even think. Let's see. Here we go.
And since I have a Paris background, while you're figuring that out, since I have a Paris background, I looked at Paris. If you go to Paris Friday night, and I just I just randomly did this for tomorrow night, right? So I didn't just choose.
Yeah.
Let me do that.
But you're the first guest that ever rescheduled.
I apologize.
With such a good reason.
I did. It was such a neat thing while you're figuring that out. We met with the U.S. ambassador to, the Romanian ambassador to the United States, and it was so fascinating. We talked about this Ukrainian conflict, and we think, oh my gosh, Ukraine's in a bad situation, which they are. There's nothing that compares to what the Ukrainians are going through, right? And what he talked about is the amount of resources that are being taken up based on their, the Ukrainian refugees coming in. So overnight they have, 500,000, 600,000 people moving into the country.
Yeah.
What do you do? Right now, that was the discussion. And so there's a lot of business leaders and stuff there. So it was really neat. So I appreciate you.
Oh no, man! I was gonna. So. Well, the Queen called me, and I have to reschedule. I was gonna pull something, but I'm like, I don't know him that well yet, so maybe he won't get my humor.
Well, I went to school in New York. I went to school in California, right, for graduate school, and living in a smaller state, what you guys refer to as flyover country, right, has its advantages, right? We know the Attorney General really well here, and anyway, so it was really great. But what I did, I just pulled up Paris, France for Friday night, right? And so you can see here that on our portal itself, Priceline has this hotel room. This is a one-night stay at the Hotel Westminster Opera for $744 a night. Okay. Our price is $309. Okay. So what that means is that the hotel is getting roughly $265 a night plus taxes equals that $309. Priceline.com in this scenario is getting $436.
Wow.
So when you're only paying $25 a night, this is a great example, 59%. We see upwards of 82% off at any given time. A couple of years ago at the Ritz-Carlton in Waikiki, it was $35,000 on Expedia. It was $5,000, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, who's paying $5,000 to go stay at a hotel, let alone $35,000? But they're booking rooms at that, right? And people think that that's the best way to do it, but again, for $25, you can save the $436. And then just for fun, I just pulled up New York as well too, for the same night tomorrow night. And again,
I should have told you to pull up Hawaii for early May.
Yeah, we can do that.
No, because that's where I'm going.
Yeah, we can look at that later. But yeah, so I mean, you see here, per night you're saving $214. So
dude, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's Manhattan. This is a good hotel. I went to New York City.
Nice change.
It's a great area. Yeah, it's a great area. So it's not, and again, I just looked at tomorrow night, but we can look out really, 18 months, 12 months in advance. It doesn't matter.
That's insane, man.
Is that insane? So we've kind of taken it from a different approach, right? And our hope is that when somebody becomes a member, we actually let them hand out free memberships to people. So they can actually give a free membership. But the difference between a free member and a paid member is really simple. A paid member saves $214. Whereas a free member, it's a limited time, they don't get it forever, would save $107 in that scenario.
Who gets the other 107?
Whoever shares it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. So it's pretty simple. So if you're traveling, doing soccer, if you're a soccer mom, I get, my sister-in-law calls me all the time and says, hey, we're going down to Phoenix or St. George.
We got a tournament. Yeah.
We got a tournament. Yeah. It just works. It works well for really wherever you go. And it's the same everywhere. These rules apply whether you're going to Shanghai, you're going to London, you're going to Omaha, Nebraska. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So
have you, how long has JIFU been around?
2.5 years, almost 3 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So at some point, are we going to talk about the coin and shop? Is that still?
We can talk about the coin. Yep.
Okay.
We can talk about that for sure.
I'm just, like I said, I did some research. I was like, this is cool.
You did. Well, here, let me just tell you what the coin is. So a lot of people, I actually have a certificate from MIT in blockchain. Okay. Cause I didn't understand it. Right. Just like most of us Americans, we don't get it. You go outside the United States, people are talking about it. Right.
Yeah.
And what we did is we started to look, we had people saying, look, I want to book hotel rooms with a coin, with crypto. Right.
Yeah.
And the problem is most people don't realize this. But to exchange a Bitcoin, okay, can take upwards of 30 hours to actually facilitate it between you and me. Okay. Right. And that's because of the way the consensus algorithm works. Well, when you go and you try to book a hotel room, the rules that we have with the database is you have 10 minutes. Once I select that room, it's set aside for me for 10 minutes. Okay. Well, that doesn't work with the way crypto works right now. Right?
Yeah.
You can't necessarily do that. So we looked at Ethereum, and most of the coins you look at are built on top of the Ethereum network.
Yeah.
We couldn't make it work with what we were doing with travel itself. Ethereum's faster. Ethereum can take 6 minutes to 35 minutes. I think the other day I looked, it was like a 28-minute average time to actually transfer an Ethereum coin. But the problem is the average price at the time was $40. They're called gas fees.
Yeah.
So again, if I go in and I want to book this hotel room, under this scenario, it's great, right? Okay, it's costing me $40, but I'm still saving 200. What would that be? 100 and something, right?
Yeah.
So we looked at it. We said, okay, people are going to want to pay in crypto because the amount of money that Visa and MasterCard. So again, we look at it as the consumer, right? The consumer needs to save money, or the small business needs to, right?
Sure.
And so we looked at it and we said we couldn't make crypto work with travel. We couldn't build on top of Ethereum. We couldn't build on top of Bitcoin.
Oh, okay.
So we actually
existing. I gotcha.
Yeah, the existing one. So we actually built our own blockchain. And we were just licensed in the EU. So we actually have a license to build our own blockchain, which is a good thing for the consumers. We look at it as we want to make sure we're doing everything legal. So we went to Estonia, which has a very friendly crypto world. Yeah. The licensing application took almost 2 years to do, but we were actually just awarded that license, and now we are living within the regulations of the European Union. So with that, now people will be able to, exchange crypto quicker on our chain, and they'll also be able to book hotel rooms, pay for coffee, things like that. So we're trying So we look at it as a way to, again, democratize that. Instead of giving all the money to Visa, right?
Yeah.
Give it to the coffee shop, give it to the consumer. So we have a whole bunch of applications that will sit on top of it, a loyalty program. So think of like Marriott points or Delta points.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that next.
Yeah. So by putting it on our blockchain, if I earned it by staying at a hotel, and that hotel is willing to give rewards back to the blockchain for using that instead of booking using a Visa or an American Express.
Yeah.
Then next time I want to use that, I can port those loyalty points to a whole different system and use them there. So I'm not stuck using it just on Delta or just on Marriott or Hilton.
But in theory, could you? And I'm just literally just off the cuff.
Yeah, no problem.
In theory, could I use my Southwest Chase card to purchase your coin? Mm-hmm. Right. So let's say I want $5,000 of the JIFU coin.
Yep, it's actually called Crew now. We've taken the JIFU name off of it, so it can be used across multiple platforms.
Okay.
So, Crew, KRU.
Mm-hmm. So if I want to spend, I could in theory get 5,000 points on my Southwest card to purchase the Crew coin. As long as I pay off that card, then
that's right.
It didn't cost me anything because I'm not paying. I don't want to pay the interest on it.
Yep, that's right.
Right. So I could get travel points for purchasing the Crew coins, and then also start building up the loyalty.
That's exactly right. Yep, cool. That's exactly right. In fact, we do the same thing in JIFU. We, you can use your Southwest card to book this, or your Sheraton card, which is actually a Marriott card, right?
Right.
I would use my Marriott card. I would get those points. Yeah. By staying there, I'd get points. And then I also, inside of JIFU itself, we actually have points as well too. And this mimics what the major travel portals give, which is about 1 to 1.5% of your bookings actually go into points. And you can use 10 points. So each one of these points roughly equates to a penny, right? So I've got $412 that I can use at any hotel, on a cruise.
Yeah.
Wherever
car rental, whatever, right?
Yep. Car rental or whatever. Yeah. Yep. So we've taken kind of that same thought process, and I'll just show you the website. We're not completely, this is, I guess, a good kickoff, I guess, but it's called Kingaroo, Crew for short, and it's just crypto for commerce, right? So we're doing almost 90 times more transactions per second than Bitcoin is. We're doing almost 15 times more transactions than Ethereum has the capacity to do. So the whole idea is again to be able to go out and do quick transactions and a cheaper transaction too. That's our whole goal.
Yeah, the gas fees are.
It's crazy.
So, yeah. Well, it's all relative though, right?
Sure.
I mean, my daughter, my youngest daughter, who's married, and her husband mint their own NFTs. And they're 26 and 30. They literally haven't worked, literally.
Yeah.
Because they actually got laid. Both of them got laid off during the COVID here in California.
Okay.
One was my son-in-law's a chef, was a chef, and my daughter worked for. She was a personal assistant for a very wealthy person. They got laid off, and they started day trading, and then they got into NFTs, and then they started minting their own NFTs, and they moved to Tennessee. They haven't had a job since January of 2021.
That's awesome, and that's really the way the world is working, right? I mean, my dad was a lawyer and then a federal judge for a couple decades, right? That doesn't really happen that much anymore, right? No. I mean, you and I were talking beforehand about what you do, right? In the off time, which is you go around and help, facilitate boot barn and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
But before that, you're in cabinets, right? I mean, I've done various things throughout my career, because the world changes so fast, right? I mean, nothing stays static anymore. You see so few people in the same career for 40 years.
Heck, when I was 19, I started in sales. It was a part-time job. I was in college, and it was selling computer software for Commodore 128s, and then the Commodore Amiga computers.
Yeah.
So, those computers don't exist anymore. The companies that we sold to were all mom and pop computer stores because Apple stores didn't exist. Fry's Electronics, which now doesn't exist anymore, they didn't exist. So it was, if you wanted a computer, you went to a mom and pop store. So that entire market changed. It's kind of like
it totally changed.
If you owned a record store.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore.
Well, it's I think I read the other day the last movie that was put on a VHS tape, right? Was 2006, right? And then obviously DVDs came around, and I've got a 22-year-old, 17-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 9-year-old, and it's so fun to talk to them about a DVD, right? And so wait a second, you go up and you put it in the thing, and wait for it to load, and then fast forward through the, everything else. It's such a the world's just going so fast, right? So nothing stays the same, and that's why I think
travel's the same. Travel's the same way. I talked to a lot of the musicians who've been doing it for 30, 40 years, and you go back. You used to have a travel agent, because I mean you didn't pre-computers, right? Pre-smartphones. I mean, how would you book a hotel in Paris, France, without a computer, without a smartphone? How would you do it?
Or how would you know that the hotel that they're recommending or the one that you're going to stay at is in a nice area or a good hotel? And travel agents, that's what they did. They were, my mom worked as a travel agent for a while. And, the hotels used to pay her to come out, check out their hotels so that she'd recommend it to people, right? That's nowadays, you go online, you read the reviews, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And
don't get me wrong. There's still, I interviewed an influencer whose sole job is to go to hotels throughout Texas, and she now gets paid by the hotels in Texas, and because she reviews them and then puts it out on her page.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who do that, and I think it's a wonderful service, right? Because you're getting people who know what they're talking about. I mean, we still need professionals, right? The whole idea that but the only problem is just because they have a certain number of followers doesn't necessarily mean that they know what they're talking about either, right? That's always the hard part, right?
Well, that's no different. I mean, you read a Yelp review, that might be the same crazy lady you thought was a stupid idiot at the dentist office the other day. Now you're listening to her talk about a restaurant that you want to go to.
So true. And I feel bad for restaurants to get a bad Yelp review. They can't do anything about it, right? That's the hardest thing. But but I use Yelp. When I go to a city I haven't been to before, I use it because you want that insight, right?
But you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Absolutely.
JIFU sounds exciting. I mean, I hope you're as excited about it as it sounds.
We are, and making it through COVID. I mean, when that first started, 2 weeks. Okay, we can handle 2 weeks, and fortunately, we have amazing affiliates who have kept up the good fight. Again, we're bigger outside the United States than we are inside the United States, and that's just because certain affiliates have just kind of taken off and they post about it, they talk to people about it. But we're making a pretty strong push here in the United States, because now that it's not unpolitically correct, I'm not sure what the right way to say that is. People are traveling again. I just got back from Dubai and Istanbul, and hotels are full. Planes are full. Yep. People were traveling during COVID. I still made it to be a diamond medallion on Delta during COVID. Hotels were, you had the space between the seats, but the planes were full, right? Yeah. But people were less excited to share about it on social media. Whereas now we're seeing more and more and more, bookings. We're seeing more and more savings, and that's really what we love to see. We love to see people saving money, because that just means they can go do something funner. They can pay for their parking at the hotel, I guess, right? Going back to your comment.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, I mean, because I go to I work at the rodeo every winter.
Down in Vegas, that big IVA rodeo.
Well, the NFR, yeah.
NFR, excuse me.
National Finals Rodeo. And we stay at the MGM every year. It's just how our company, we set up, we should get that through JIFU. They actually do a pretty good deal. But because we're there for 16, I'm there for 16 nights.
Yeah.
And that's I think we've had 103 people this year. That's a lot of room nights.
That's a lot of room nights.
Just for that one thing. Because then we do other things in Vegas too, for the bull riding and all. Anyways. We have to pay, I think it's $39.99 or $49.99 for resort
every night. Yep.
And the resort fees don't exist for me, because the pool's not open in December because it's cold. I don't go to the gym because I'm working from 8 in the morning till about 6 at night every day.
Yep.
So I'm like, hold on, what am I paying $40 a night for?
It's just a profit center.
Well, and the room cost us, I think we were like I think it was like $90 a night. That's what they were hitting us for.
Yep.
So I'm just like, the resort fee is half the price of the room fee.
Well, again, it goes back to, let me just share my screen one more time. I'll just use another example. I'll use cruises here for a second.
Oh man, can't let my wife watch this one.
Well, so we're actually going on a cruise for spring break, right? And we were supposed to go at Christmas time, but they changed the COVID rules going out of California. So we had to cancel our cruise, right? Because my little girls didn't have their shots yet, right? Well, they have their shots. We can go and do everything we want, right? But again, it's just the same thing, right? If I'm booking somewhere else and I'm paying that additional $540, right? But you look at it, the cruise is getting less money than the actual travel agents are. So we say, again, hey, if you want to pay that to me, that'd be awesome. But I just don't believe that. I think that the better deals that we can give to people, the more experiences that they're going to have, the more that they're going to be able to go out and see that. And so, even if you're saving $180 on this Carnival cruise, well, that $180 allows you to buy the drink package or do another, venture, what do they call them? Not a venture.
When you get in the port. Yeah.
Yeah. When you get into the port, right? So now you can go and do that golf course you wanted to golf at, or that wine tasting, or whatever it is that you fancy. You now have that extra money to be able to do it. So going back to your example on the MGM.
Don't show the screen to my wife.
Well, okay, I'll cover it here. I can't even cover it, right? But I was actually at the MGM while you were at the MGM actually this last.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this last year we were down speaking at an event. My kid was my son. He's heading to college, and we had a really cool thing. We went down to Mexico and gave away 280 wheelchairs in August, right? And we were down talking to the Nevada Export Council about getting kids involved in humanitarian work, right?
Yeah.
We were down there talking, and so to your point, my little 9-year-old, we stayed at the MGM. I probably paid less than you did, I'm pretty sure. But we went down and we swam in that pool, and I was freezing. But my 9-year-old wanted to do it. I was going to go do it, right? And that's what you do. So I got to utilize that a little bit, but
you weren't working all day long.
Yeah. So,
I mean. Like I said, if I had the ability to use the pool, that'd be one thing. But if I'm working from 8 to 6, I'm not.
Well, there are lawsuits right now about resort fees.
Oh, I love you.
Yeah, and
I just wish they would show them, like going back when I go on Expedia, because everyone looks at. Well, I guess not everyone looks. I look at price because I'm an independent contractor, so
yeah.
When I'm by myself, it doesn't have to be as nice as when my wife's with me.
Yes.
So, because I'm a hit and run, I'm just gonna hit that room for 2 nights or one night, and then
exactly
go to the next. I just wish the full fee was what was shown to compare.
So they're doing that more and more, whether it's, whether it's Expedia or whomever, because the travel industry is very aware of this, right?
Oh yeah.
So there are, everybody's out there trying to do that and to show that, right? And I believe that the travel industry is doing a better job of it, because the last thing that any travel agency, whether it's online or offline, wants to do is have somebody call and say, you didn't tell me about this fee, right? That's where it gets frustrating. And so I agree with you. The last thing you want to do is show up at a hotel and have a surprise, come at you, right? So what I was going to show it to you, this is actually Expedia itself. This is where they go in and actually talk about, hey, what we're showing you is based on how much money we actually get. So when we were displaying properties with a similar offer, we were paid less compensation on the booking. Our default, we will order properties with similar results based on the factors above, right? So you can actually go in and see what different online travel agencies do, and what they're travel and what they're showing you. And a lot of times, they actually say inside here, you can go and read this based on how much money they're earning, right?
Yeah.
Which again, I love
the loss leader. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a loss leader. It's a great way for them to do it. And again, I want people to make money, because people who make money stay in business, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, if we can, lessen that for a traveler, that's a better way to do it. Because you're right. When you get to a hotel, when you get to a property, last thing you want to do is you feel like, oh my gosh, I just got bamboozled, and now I got to pay all these fees, right? Yep. Like for example, on a cruise, hey, order room service. So each kid orders at a different time. It's $10 each time you do it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Consolidate your orders, right?
Do
so
this
if
one
you know
time,
in advance what it is, you don't feel as shocked.
Well, like I said, when I showed up to Dallas, and like Vegas used to be the valets were always free.
Yeah.
The parking was always free. Now they charge for it.
Now they charge for it.
But at least they tell you about it.
Yeah.
When I showed up in Dallas, and I'm like, I'm not even joking. I'm self-parked instead of valeted. The valet was 20 feet away, and self-parking was 25 feet away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on, I got to pay to park there? Or I can pay you $40 a night to valet to park right there. Come on.
Well, but if you stay at an MGM property, you can park all the MGMs.
That's huge.
That is huge. But I agree with you. I mean, I think that the more friendly, the less, in business school, the number one thing people ask me, what did you learn in business school? One, it's amazing any business stays in business, right? Yeah. That's the first thing. But the second thing is velocity of money, right? And I believe that if these hotels and regardless of the business, you look at what Costco's done. Costco's taken out all of the bumps in the road, right? You know what you're going to expect. You know what their markup is, right? They're very open about that. That the membership is where they make a lot of their money. So you feel okay about that, right? And as long as you know what that is, it's great. But businesses and industries that hide things and are okay with, I love repeat business, right? There's no better way to do it. And I believe that as the industry goes through and COVID comes back, I mean, some of these hotels, they're just lucky to make it through COVID.
And
right?
Then some. I have 2 stores in Hawaii that didn't make it. One closed down this month.
Yeah.
And it opens. It's sad because that store, they're lifting restrictions March 26th, and they didn't make. They decided, I think, in January to close in March. That's what they had a few months to kind of do their closeouts, but they didn't make it. That 2 weeks was too much.
It's sad to see. We have a couple restaurants here. I just live north of Salt Lake City, and you see these ma and pas that have been around for 30 years, and they just didn't make it, and it breaks my heart, because it's not just a store closing down and an inconvenience to me. It's somebody's livelihood. It's somebody's passion, and it breaks my heart. In fact, I was in San Francisco in October of, I got to think back now, October of 2020, right? I had to go and meet with a consular over there, and walking around Union Square in San Francisco was actually impressive.
Yeah.
It was, I walked from there. I walked through Chinatown to North Beach
which you never would have done before.
No, never would have done. But every store, there were 2 stores open in Chinatown.
Yeah.
And I just thought, man, that's so hard to see, right? You see these people. So I'm so grateful to seeing that business is opening up again, right? And governments are allowing, people to get out again. And, it's a sad history to have lived through, and hopefully we're over it. That's my hope.
Yeah. Well, or whatever's next.
Whatever's next. That's right.
Always something, right?
There's always something. Yeah.
I mean, so what's your favorite place to have been to so far?
To me,
let me preface that.
Okay.
You travel a lot for friends, family, and then business, right?
Yep.
But I mean, just pure, wow, this is awesome kind of feeling.
Oh man, there's so many things. That's so hard for me, because to me, it's almost the experiences that I've had there, right?
Yeah.
I have so many fond memories of both business and family in Europe. I lived in Japan for 3 years. I speak Japanese. Taking my kids back to Japan was such a thrill, right? My oldest was actually born in Japan, and hadn't been back since he was born. He's now 22. He's actually he's disabled and in a wheelchair, but we were able to get him back over to Japan and take him to where he was born. And so to me, it's as much as anything, I talked about it a little bit in the beginning, which is I get my kids when we travel, right?
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Today, my mom posted, today being St. Patrick's Day, my dad lived in Ireland for a couple of years, and I was able to go back with my dad.
Cool.
He hadn't been back to Ireland in 40 years. And my wife, my mother, my mom, my dad, and my younger brother, we were able to actually go back to Ireland and be there with my dad. And that was so cool, right? I mean, just to be able to go back to the places that he went to as a young kid, and where he lived. And, you can't duplicate that through pictures, right? I think back, my dad passed away a few years ago, and right before he started getting sick, he died he had a complications from Parkinson's. And the last major trip my dad was able to go on, I took my 2 older boys, my mom, my wife, and my dad, and we went back. We went to Italy, Prague. We went to a couple places. We went to Rome, not Florence, excuse me. That was a trip before. We went to Rome. We went down to Pompeii, went up to Prague, and then we went to East Germany and Berlin. And that was the last major trip my dad was able to go on.
Yeah.
And that's such a special trip. It's such a special thing in my life, because I can't do that again. Right. That's the time when I got my dad and I got my mom and my 2 boys. They'll never forget that either. They got to be with their grandpa and their grandma during that time. Yeah. Right. And so to me, there's so many wonderful places to go. I love Prague. If you've never been to Prague, you got to go to Prague. It's so unique and it's so special. Going to Guilin, China. Guilin, China, if you've watched the Panda show, I can't remember, my kids watched all the time, the cool mountains coming out of the river. That's Guilin. It's so unique. Xi'an, China, going into the terracotta warriors. It boggles your mind what human beings have been able to do.
Yeah.
Japan, taking my kids to the Hiroshima Peace Park, where the atomic bomb was dropped, and having that conversation with my little girls, who were 7 and 9 at the time. There's just so many things, and you travel provides experiences, it provides knowledge, and I believe it breaks down, fear. I think it breaks down biases. It breaks down, those different things. And so, if somebody is racist and doesn't like a certain type of people, go to where they are, and you'll learn that they're wonderful, amazing people. You break those down, and that's what I love about travel, is you get out there and you experience.
I think it's interesting. Yeah, you said that, because I've found that a lot of the people that are racist or segregationists, is because they don't leave.
That's exactly right.
And it's not even like they're racist. Like, I talked to I had a Hispanic friend when I was growing up, a Latino.
Okay.
And he was in a gang, and I'm like, why would you join a gang? And he's like, well, I had to, for protection, this and that. Yeah. I said, okay. I said, why would you limit yourself to that small of an area? Exactly. Like, you can't go to that side of the street, but you can be on this side of the street. If I want to go to Santa Monica, I have no problem. I just drive to Santa Monica. I don't have to think, well, I'm driving through a different set. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like literally and it's kind of that same way with everything. I think once you get out and you see people from different parts of the world, all of a sudden you're like, hey, we're all kind of the same.
We're all the same. And you know that when I was 18, so this is back in 1993. My great uncle was a professor at the University of Utah in religious studies, religious history, more or less. And they were invited to go over to Russia 1 year after, Boris Yeltsin was on the tanks and, it fell down. Right. And my uncle was invited. My uncle called me and invited me and took me over to Russia 1 year after communism fell. We were in Red Square the year after. And, growing up during the Cold War, all the fear mongering, all the Russians are, and this is kind of a touchy subject right now, but it's a good example of when I got to meet the people in small towns like Yaroslavl and, these little towns where they're just untouched by the West at the time.
Yeah.
People were so amazing. They were inviting us into their farmhouses and serving us tea with strawberry jam poured into it. And you just realize that everybody's a person. In fact, one of the ladies, I still remember this, she was an engineer at Chernobyl, and she was getting sick and came home back to Russia, and she was back there living with her parents again. And we got to sit there and talk to them. Right. And so it was, a lot of times when we read the news and what's going on, we create these biases and it's an unfair situation, right? To judge Russians based on Putin. Right.
Sure. Or I go into, it's unfair to judge conservatives with Donald Trump.
There you go.
It's unfair. It's all across the board.
It's across the board.
The Japanese 70 years ago invaded Pearl Harbor and bombed us. That's right.
Yep.
I'm not going to hate the Japanese people now because 70 years ago they bombed,
That's exactly right. And that's the story that's one of my favorite stories, was going to the Hiroshima Peace Park and having that conversation with my kids. Right.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. You can show them videos, but actually going there and seeing what happened, it creates a different emotion. And so, you're absolutely right. Whether it's conservatives, liberals, whatever it is, thoughts don't create evil, right? I think bias creates evil.
Yeah. And traveling tends to level it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that.
So here's a question for you.
Okay.
You traveled a lot your whole adult life, basically.
Yes.
Did you start JIFU because of the travel portion, or was it you saw the potential and financial, or was it a combination?
It's a combination, right?
There's a lot of things you could have done with your
Sure. Absolutely. And I think that's what's so awesome. You're talking about your daughter, the amount of opportunities today. I'm helping my son go through college applications right now, right? It's a whole new world.
Been there, done that.
It's a whole new world of the opportunities that our kids have, right? But I love to travel, and I recognize that it's a tough thing for people to do, but what parent doesn't want to take their kid to Disneyland?
Right.
It's actually
on a cruise or
whatever, but it's actually cheaper to go to Paris right now than it is to go to Disneyland because it's so expensive.
Yeah, I know. They're starting to sell the I live in Southern California, so Disneyland's a big deal. The annual passes are, because we used to get them when my girls were small. The annual pass, I think, was $179 or $295 something. And so I think if you went 2.5 times, it was worth it. And so
absolutely,
my now ex-wife would take the girls for a 3-hour day. You didn't feel like you had to spend 12 hours to max out your day, because you would just go, we'll go next week too. Don't worry about it. Yep. Now they're like $1,100, or I don't want to.
It's over so much money, and it's such a time commitment, and but everybody wants to give that to their kids, or they want to be able to put them on the traveling soccer team, right? But let's be honest. Everything's more expensive with gas being what it is.
No.
For me, just to drive my kid to a baseball clinic or it costs money, right? Everything has an effect. And so, we looked at it as a way for us to be able to allow people to save that money, right? Now, of course, there's personal reasons or selfish reasons that we do it. Obviously, that's how I pay my the way I live, right? So that's a good thing. But we also, I have affiliates that make way more money than I do. That continue to share, and to me, that's a wonderful thing. I want people to be successful, but I also want people to have the ability to go and go experience things. So
do you don't have to take advantage of the affiliate if you don't want to, correct?
No,
like,
of course
if
not.
I just wanted to pay the $25 and just save my money, that's it, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, it's easy. And again, it's just month to month. If you want to cancel,
yeah.
you know, if you sign up and within 7 days, you say, I don't like this, we'll give you your money back. You know, we try again. We want to.
Is there an advantage to doing the annual thing?
There actually is. Oh man, you really have studied. Yeah, if you do the annual thing, we actually give you what we call a vacation voucher, where essentially you just pay the taxes. And one of the hotels that we use is called Vedanta. So if you looked it up, Vidanta, they have 6 different properties in Mexico. We give you that certificate to actually utilize within the next 12 months. And it's depending on when you go, it's about a $4,000 to $5,000 value, is what it is. And so you can actually go and stay at the Vedanta for a week for about $200. So you pay the $300, you get the travel portal, you get everything that's inside of it for really 13 months.
Yeah.
Plus you get that $4,000 vacation. And we actually use that, not 1 year ago, spring break, we actually went down to Vedanta. We took our family down. In fact, my wife's whole family, she has 5 siblings, and we took all the kids and grandkids and everybody down, and it was amazing. It's a 5-star resort.
Where's it at?
The one that we went to is north of Playa del Carmen, south of Cancun. It's kind of halfway in between. And it's amazing. It was one of the coolest places I've ever been to. And our members that pay the yearly fee or are members for 1 year, you can do it either way. Then you just send in an email to member services and we send you that certificate.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's, again, we look at it as if we can help you get out there into the world, you know, you're going to continue to be a member. You're going to tell your friends about it. And that's all we want. We want people to be able to go and do and experience things. So
see that, I think it's interesting because there's a boot company, and they decided to only sell direct, like only direct to consumers. They don't go through stores. There's no, you can't, you know, but they spent millions of dollars on advertising.
Yeah.
I mean, they were on the ESPN, they were on the Super, I mean, they millions of dollars, right? Because all of a sudden my stores were going, hey, this company, you know, I won't say their name. I don't want to give them free press, but they were like, you know, all my stores were like, hey, who are these guys? Where'd they come from?
Yeah.
Literally overnight, you know, and they now have a name in the Western boot industry, and they've stopped spending all that money, you know, but they really hit with a splash. I mean, they spent tens of millions of dollars. Yeah. I don't think people understand how much it costs to be on Google.
It's so expensive. Yeah. It's so expensive. And there's, again, Google and Facebook have their place, but I would rather give the money to somebody. Again, we make it so easy that if you're a member, you don't earn that money. You won't earn that half. Remember, we talked about that half, but you'll get it in travel credits and you can apply it to your next vacation, right? You need to be an affiliate to actually receive the money because you got to, you know, fill out a couple of forms and stuff. But you know, if you're a member, you can still share it with people and still benefit from that. And again, we love that. We want people to go and experience things. I want my neighbors' hotels to be full, right? I want those people to have those experiences when they go out and travel. And so if we can take away those bumps, those obstacles to allowing people to do that, we continue to look for opportunities to add value to our membership.
But like I said, it seems, I mean, I only come from a business travel mindset. That's how my brain works. It seems like it's as big of an advantage for business travelers though, as it is for people that are just pleasure.
Yeah, riding. we have one lady. She was an affiliate, but she really did it to be a member, right? She had her friends that were members also, and she worked for a private equity backed company, and she was utilizing JIFU every time she traveled. Okay, and she was staying at the same hotels, renting cars, you know, all those different things, right? She saved over $10,000 for her company for the first year. Her bosses went, whoa, what are you doing here? What's going on? So they started using her portal to book all of their travel when they were traveling with her, which we're okay with. You know, you can have up to 10 names in there.
Really?
Yeah, you can have 10 names. So you don't have to buy one for you and one for your wife. You can have 10 names in there. And your wife can use it, you can use it, your daughter could use it, or, whatever.
Yeah.
The only problem is, and we always say this, is that if your daughter books in yours, well, you're going to get the travel points, right? You're going to get those reward points that she won't. Yeah. But they
that's called payback.
That's called that's right. Yeah. The amount of money we spend on our kids. Right. But yeah. So business travelers, I've always been an entrepreneur. I worked for a Japanese company for a few years early on, but I've always been an entrepreneur. So every dime that I gave to a hotel or I gave to an online travel agency, it was coming out of my pocket. Right. Yeah. And so if I can save my company money, and then it's a wonderful thing.
Well, I think I'm like the perfect portal for this, because musicians, they're independent contractors.
Yeah,
that's right. All comes. I mean, and I talk to a lot of. I've had Steve Stevens and some guys that travel private jets and all that, but most of them are still doing that 15 passenger van.
Yeah.
Trip to trip, and they're staying in hotels and this and that, and this kind of thing would actually help them.
It absolutely would. In fact, my partner in this, he's got a family business that's very successful, and that's one of the things why he wanted a partnership on this, is because whether you have money or don't have money, everybody likes to save money.
Sure.
Right. Rich people don't become rich by spending it. Right. They invest it. There's a difference between spending and investing. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And again, if you can stay at that MGM and save, $50, $40, whatever it is, it's still $40. That pays for a meal. That pays for, part of your airline, whatever it is.
All the reps, we call it, I have some accounts that don't do a lot of volume, but they pay for the gas. And we call them gas money accounts.
Yeah.
It's just enough to pay for the gas, but you still got to pay for the gas.
Yeah. $5 is $5, man.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Well, I talked to one musician, Big Sandy. He's a rockabilly singer. He's on the road 300 plus days a year.
Every night you're spending $90 at a hotel.
Yeah.
Or $60.
Think about how much money he's spending.
$30 times 300. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. So, that's what I'm saying. I mean, musicians seem to travel a lot. Volleyball players travel a lot.
Oh yeah. I've got a little niece who's quite the setter down in Austin, Texas. She just moved to Texas, and every weekend my sister's posting. They went to here to here to here to here. I mean,
I'm talking even at the pros. Corinne Quigo, who I had on my show, she's in Mexico right now at a tournament. Yeah. She was in Italy. She went to China, Japan, Brazil. Tracy went to Brazil. So the volleyball players travel.
Yeah.
So
$10 is $10, right?
And $10 is a lot of money in volleyball players, because they don't get paid a lot.
That's right.
I think AVP is really proud. I think, their terms are like, it's a $64,000 purse for everything. I'm like,
so the winner's making what, maybe $5,000, $6,000?
I think they make like 12.
Yeah.
12 to 15, and then it just goes down from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's funny is, my wife, she likes to say this, very conservative, she wouldn't give up her minivan forever. It was so funny, but her love language when we travel is stay at a nice hotel. Right. Yeah. And so saving the money allows us to do that. When I travel,
that's what I'm telling you.
Yeah. And my wife is not high maintenance at all. Don't think that, but staying at a Ritz-Carlton once in a while, it's fun. Right.
That's why I said, when I'm by myself, I don't really care. As long as it's clean.
Yep.
I've stayed at a few that weren't clean. I was like, I can't stay here. Like, I paid for it. I'm like, no, I can't do that.
There's some hotels I've stayed in that I wonder what I was going to catch while being there. Most of them overseas, right? But yeah, for sure.
But with my wife, it's always got to be nicer.
Yep.
Yeah,
which is great.
Right? My wife would go. I'll be on the road, and she'll be like, "So where are you staying tonight?" So I'm staying at a place you would stay at. She goes, "Oh, okay, nice." Yeah, I'm staying at Hampton Inn instead of the Knights Inn or whatever.
Yeah, the night. There you go.
Yeah. Yep. So that's how it is. How much traveling did you do over COVID?
Quite a bit. We went to Orlando. Went to Disneyland. I remember, when it first hit, I actually, when COVID started talking, I had some meetings in Japan, and my wife got freaked out, right? She's so worried about travel, and she orders me this N95 N99 mask, right? Is the one that has the little vents on it. So when you breathe in, nothing comes in. When you breathe out, it goes out, right? They deemed them against the rules shortly thereafter, right? And when I got on the airplane, going over, very few people had masks. Coming home, everybody had masks. Yeah. When I landed, that's when the shutdown kind of started, right? And so for about 2-3 months, we didn't do much. We didn't, because we were trying to, stay safe, stay at home, and things like that. But we started doing kind of day trips. Sure. I live just north of Salt Lake. There's so many amazing things to go see. We still wanted our kids to be out, right? Just sitting in the home all day was really tough for us. And so we slowly started doing more and more. And as we started getting out, we realized there's so many other people doing it as well too. Yeah. And we went down and we actually went with some friends and we took my mom, down to Orlando. We went to Disney World and, nice. Did the whole thing and went golfing. Yeah. We continued to try to live as normal of a life as possible, because again, you only get your kids for so long, right? But we were very cautious. We wore the masks and, did everything we were supposed to be doing. And, but yeah, we tried to, as much as possible, do as much safe traveling as we could.
It's funny you said that, because in April of 2020, we had a trip scheduled to Japan. Uh-huh. And my oldest daughter and her boyfriend, and my daughter and her younger daughter and husband, we were all going to meet separately, take separate flights, meet in Japan, in Tokyo, spend a couple days together, and then one was going to go home already. The other one was going to stay a few extra days. We were planning to go to Kyoto, and then obviously that didn't happen.
Oh, shut down. In fact, Japan is still the most difficult place to, well, I mean, other than, some of the regimes, right? I was actually on a call this morning with 8 of our affiliates, and supposedly April 1, it's all going away. So,
really?
Yeah. So after 2 years, I can actually get back to Japan. But they cracked down pretty quickly. And
yeah, they did.
But everybody should go to Japan. It's
we
such
can't
an
wait.
Place. Such an amazing place.
That's why we just looked it up 2 nights ago, when if they had to change it, because Hawaii's changed March 26th. That's why I'm going to go back and see my stores and see how they're doing now. Hopefully, because the stores in Hawaii, like I don't know if you haven't traveled. Hawaii is based on tourism dollars.
That's right.
And if there's no tourism, there ain't no dollars.
There's nothing.
So it's going to be amazing to see the difference.
Well, I've talked about my neighbor a couple times. They have two hotels over by the Disney resort there in Oahu, right? Mm-hmm. And he's been going back, as they've been building the hotels and things like that. And he just said it's so sad to see how many of these mom and pop, because that's what Hawaii is, right? Through these little tiny towns. That's what I love about Hawaii. And you just find the coolest little stores. And he just said it's so sad to see how many of them have shut down, how many people have had to leave Hawaii, during that process. And so, again, I hope we get back to a normal world again, so those people can recoup, right? Our economy is for some it's worked out really well, and we need to get that balance back again. So
I think that's a big too. I mean, I had my best year ever last year.
Isn't that crazy?
It's insane.
It's insane.
And I saw because I just literally yesterday we had our sales meeting for the fall. So I'll start selling holiday of 2022 goods. I got my numbers from last year, and they were almost zero, because last year at this time my stores were closed.
Yeah.
So they weren't even open for me to go show them the goods. So I didn't sell anything. So my holiday for last year was made up by other reasons, which were phenomenal. But my mom and pop stores, they didn't buy anything.
Yeah,
because they weren't open. I called my boss, and and you talk to people in other parts of the country where they're open, and they're like, what do you mean you're closed? I go, no, like they are not letting people in their stores. Like
that's right,
not allowed to go shopping. And they're like,
well, what? Utah opened up fairly quickly. That's what was kind of nice. And so, we saw that, but you have other states that were hit harder. Had more stricter rules and
well, we went to Tennessee to see my daughter, and she goes, I haven't worn a mask in over a year. She goes, I don't even know where my mask is, Dad. And I'm like, I know where mine is. It's in my pocket.
That's right.
Because now keys, wallet, phone, mask.
That's right.
Welcome to California.
Right. Yeah.
So what do you see for 2022 2023 in travel?
It's coming back fast. that pent up demand is really showing. We see bookings going up all over the world. We see the amount of people calling in and now wanting to take advantage of that Vedanta pass going up. I think that the difficulty is going to be in the gas prices, right? Because the airlines typically purchase fuel far enough out that they can kind of balance this. But man, if this fuel price stays where it's at, that's the only thing where I could see kind of a slowdown. But again, we Americans, for the most part, kind of it affects us, but it doesn't change what our desires are. Right. So it'll be interesting to see how far out it goes. I sit on the board of a credit union here in Utah, and we just had our board meeting the other day, and we talked about that. We talked about what gas prices are doing. But the credit union had record applications for loans. Whether it was home loans, car loans, if you can get a car right now. That's the other thing that's crazy, is if you can get a
unbelievable.
car. It's unbelievable. And so, I saw a comment by a politician that said, this is why you should be on electricity, electric cars. Okay. Well, no, go to Lake Powell, go to Lake Mead and see how low they are right now, because the amount of electricity that's being needed for all the electric cars and all the other reasons. Right. Yeah. So that doesn't necessarily fix the problem right away. But that to me is probably the biggest issue, whether you're having to drive someplace or fly someplace. I think that there's going to be some corrections.
And I don't think we've seen it yet, but I can tell you, like our container we were on sales meeting yesterday.
Absolutely.
The president said
your shipping costs, right?
The shipping costs actually are going down now. Finally.
Really?
We're getting delays, still delayed.
Mm-hmm.
We're still getting massive delays. I mean, month, 6 weeks late. Just getting out of China, getting the boats and all. It's as bad in the port as it's ever been. And they're talking about a strike. So,
oh geez.
But we haven't seen that truck now has to fill it with diesel. My RV takes diesel. It's $6.19 a gallon right here in California.
Yeah.
So all these trucks that are filling up to get your goods from the port, from China to wherever, are now paying $6.20 a gallon. It's going to affect. It's going to
affect everything, and that's the harsh reality. And I don't know everything about the petroleum industry and the gas industry.
I don't either.
But it was interesting. I was in Dubai. It's been now a couple of weeks ago, and right after I left, the government of Dubai has like a set price for the UAE, I guess I should say, has kind of a set price for gas, and they forecast that out, right? Yep. And they announced a 10-cent increase in gas. There's a 2-hour wait for everybody to go fill up their gas before the price increase happened, right? So it's everywhere, right? We're all being affected by this. And again, hopefully we can find some solution to it, because gas was so cheap 3 years ago, right? And now it's 3 times as much?
Yeah.
It's wild, maybe twice as much.
Well, it was because it's about twice as much, because my daughter was paying $1.49 and she was complaining about paying $3 in Tennessee.
That's right.
I don't even remember paying $3. I mean, it's $5.99. I've seen some like a $5.49, $5.59. Diesel $6.19. I was just like, that's ridiculous.
Is that crazy?
Yeah.
Well, we for Christmas we drove, right? We went from Salt Lake, we went to Moab, and then down to the Grand Canyon. Then from the Grand Canyon over to Palm Desert. Then from Palm Desert we went to Disneyland. Then we went up to the Rose Bowl, and then from the Rose Bowl we came home. And I asked my kids, right? I always try to create some curiosity. I said, track the gas as you go.
Yeah.
And it was so funny as we went south through Utah, it was fine. But then once we got west of Flagstaff, after going to the Grand Canyon, we just saw gas go up and up and up and up and up. And my little 11-year-old, she was kind of keeping a record of it. And she's like, oh my gosh, it just it gets more expensive as you get closer to the coast. And, it just makes it tough to take kids to Disneyland, right? Because you're paying it all to the pump instead of, I guess, Mickey Mouse.
You're paying it everywhere.
Yeah, you're just paying it everywhere. So
I don't get Disneyland's really expensive.
It's so expensive.
And they built up such a. I have friends that are my age. I'm in my 50s, and they're like, Disney, and I'm like, what are you talking about? To me, Disney's like, oh, fuck. 2-hour lines, and I won't go if I don't get the pass anymore. I'm like,
well, and they changed the pass.
I know.
They changed the pass. And in fact, we paid an extra $20 to go on the fast lane for cars.
Yeah.
The line in the fast lane was just under 2 hours. There was a family reunion. There's a family reunion. The grandpa said, I'm going to pay for the pass so we can all go on the cars ride. He paid $4,500. 2 hour wait. He was livid. He was livid. So I think the changes that they've made recently are it's made it so we don't want to go for a while again. That's the problem. Yeah. It's so expensive. And again, that's where I wish through JIFU we could give good deals at Disney. You just can't. They're not giving them like they used to.
They don't care.
They're going to fill it up no matter what, right?
Yep.
So
the pent up demand. I mean, that's literally. I mean, what do you see next for JIFU? Like, what's the future?
We're gonna, the biggest thing that we've seen out of our Japanese affiliates and stuff, one of the things that we've really seen is this vacation voucher is what we call it, right? We want to bolster that program even more, right? Because there's resorts out there, and a lot of people say, well, do I have to go listen to a timeshare? You don't have to. When you utilize that the Vedanta Pass or the different locations, even in our Vedanta Pass, we have timeshares all around the United States and Mexico and stuff, right? Overseas, we have this vacation voucher where you can save so much money by essentially just paying the taxes at the hotels. As we continue to build that up, we continue to see more and more demand for it. There's that Vedanta Pass is amazing. You talked about our shop a little bit. We started building an e-commerce site with the same idea, right? Amazon makes so much money on that eventually we'll get to the point where we start doing this with e-commerce. Come put your products and services or your products onto our site, and we'll sell it. And again, our way of monetization is at $25, right? Yeah. We want to pass on as many savings as we can. We think this is a model that can be utilized for all kinds of different things.
That's what I was asking you, because I mean, if you get into the business mind of it, it could become really, really big. Yeah. I mean, that's all Bezos did with Amazon.
That's all he did.
They're selling books.
Yep. And you look at it, the world is going to where people don't want to be nickeled and dimed everywhere they go. Yeah. Right. That to me is really the most difficult part of business is you have to make money, but you don't need to nickel and dime people. Like you talked about the resort valets, the room service, whatever it is, make it easy on people. And then they will come back again and again and again. And I think that, what Netflix did was phenomenal. Yeah. You pay $10 or whatever it is now, $12, watch as many movies as you want versus Blockbuster, $4 every time. Redbox every time is $2, right? Yeah. I don't want to think about that. It comes out every month. I don't need to worry about it anymore, and I can watch as many movies.
I still laugh when Netflix just had an increase a month ago or whatever, and it was 90 cents increase, and I'm like, you guys don't remember going to Blockbuster, do you? $4.95 for new releases, $2.99 or $2.95 for old movies, and then this. I mean, it was $5 for a movie.
Well, and Peter, what you forgot is the amount of time it took to walk in, go through. Oh, hey, this new movie came out. It's not there. So now what are we going to watch? And then you banter back and forth with your friends. And I remember the amount of time I sat in Hollywood Video or Blockbuster trying to decide what movie we would all want to watch together. Right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's I get frustrated with some of the people my daughter's age, and they're like, 90 cents increase. I'm like, oh my God, dude, trust me when I tell you. You have no idea. I got into a good discussion with a music industry guy, and he had a guest on his live show, and he was and the young millennial was like, "Well, they're on Spotify. They're they get 1 million downloads." And I go, "You know what they make on this?" Because I talked to a lot of the artists.
Yeah.
You know what they make on a download? 0.0033, a third of a penny per stream.
You have to sell a lot of those. So actually a way to fix that, we could talk about this at another time, put it on the blockchain.
Yeah.
Don't let Spotify dictate, you dictate.
Yep.
Right. And there's so many applications for that type of stuff. And that's really why it's so revolutionary, right? Is because you can fix some of those things. You can give the power back to the person who actually produced it.
And that's where it should be, but
it should be, but we've become such a centralized economy, right? You think about it. Yeah. Either Walmart gets your money or Amazon gets your money.
Yeah.
right? That's a pretty centralized system, right? Visa or American Express is processing your payments.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting how the world is changing. There's a lot of fear in it, but I also think that there's a lot of opportunity in it as well too.
I think it's complete opportunity. It's just like I'm on a show that's out to 154 countries right now.
Yeah.
I know nothing. I'm an idiot sitting in my house. I just like talking to people, and a couple 100,000 downloads later, and the great people I get to meet now, all because of this. It's all the technology.
Technology is amazing.
I think it is what you make out of it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's where, I try to expose my kids to that. You're not limited anymore by geography. You're not limited by what your parents' income was.
No.
You see people who are rising out of different income levels into new income levels, bringing industries with them. It's a whole new world, right? In fact, to that point, I saw an ad the other day. It was early on. Can Walmart compete against Kmart? It was back in the 70s. It was this big article written, right? Well, Kmart quit innovating. Walmart kept innovating.
Yeah.
And in fact, what's so funny is Amazon used to say, we're not Walmart. That's why you should come and sell on us. Now Walmart is saying, we're not Amazon, right?
Well, now they're just butting heads.
Now there's butting heads. And you think about it, Walmart, the average American lives within 5 miles of Walmart. They have warehouses all over the United States, right?
Yeah.
They should now be able to take that logistical advantage and do something with it. And they are. They're making innovation that's giving Amazon a run for their money.
And Amazon, I'm in Los Angeles area, so Amazon's huge here. Walmart not as much.
Yep.
There's Walmart. I was at it. I parked parking lot yesterday, but we have them, but they're not the big super centers and all that, and it's not the, they're not the big. They're basically malls in a lot of the small towns.
Yeah,
because I go to them. I mean, they're basically the malls.
Yep.
That's where people go and they eat and they get their optometry. And I mean, that's right. Because my dad lived in a small town.
In there.
Yeah, he lived in Arizona, in a small town, Arizona, and that was like everything was there.
Yep, that's right.
Doctors, everything. So, it's going to be interesting to see how JIFU. What's the Vedanta?
Vedanta, Vidanta. And it's not just Vedanta. That's the one that I chose to go to, but you can choose different.
Do you have one in Japan?
We actually do. So through that in Kyoto itself, there's it's a 4-night stay, I think, and it's about I want to say it's like $30 a night.
My wife will make me sign up today for that. I'm not kidding. She goes, when they open up Japan, we're going. She goes, I'm booking it. I'm just going to tell you when we're going.
Our largest revenue base is Japan. So it is. And now that again, COVID is hopefully going away, we're going to make a major push here in the United States. And it's, follow us on Instagram. We're at JIFU Life. And we give away Vedantas actually quite often, but the better way to do it is just pay that $329 or whatever it is. And you get that Vedanta pass. Just call into our member services, send them an email and say, I need that. We send you a coupon, you activate it. You choose where you want to go. And, there's times at Vedanta where it's $0 for the rest of that week. You don't pay anything. We just happened to go down when it was a little bit busier during spring break. And I think it cost us like $300 for the week for my whole family. And we had a amazing kitchen and, there's actually a grocery store on site. So if you never want to leave the resort, you don't have to.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
So I have to join to check out which one is in Kyoto?
So Kyoto is a little bit different. Yeah, there's about 15 hotels that are part of the program, but depending on their availability, they limit it. But yeah, we have 156 locations around the world, whether it's Vienna, London, Paris. We have some in San Francisco, New York City. We actually are able to do quite a few things with that. So.
Where have you not been that you want to go bad?
Oh, I'd love to go to Iceland. New Zealand. I have a good acquaintance down in New Zealand that owns a big ranch, and he says it's the best fishing in the world. I'm not a fisherman, but if it's the best fishing in the world, I'll go fish.
Well go. Yeah.
But I mean, what's crazy is there's so many amazing places to go, and our life is so short. I mean, never in the history of human beings have we been able to move as much as we do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I'm a little older than you, but at least for me growing up, you didn't go to Iceland. Like my parents weren't going, hey, let's go to New Zealand. Let's go to Australia. My parents were like, hey, we're going to go to Disneyland or San Francisco.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just my upbringing.
Yep. Well, I went to Tallinn.
International travel is ridiculous now.
Yeah, I went to Tallinn, Estonia last August. I had to go meet with the government there, and oh my gosh, what a fantastic place.
Yeah.
We all think of Paris. I've got Paris in my background. Paris, Vienna, London, Rome. Oh my gosh, go to Tallinn, Estonia. You will not be disappointed. It is one of the coolest places I've ever been. Prague is so phenomenal. I mean, there's so many places, and I'm a huge fan of Italy. Rome, I spent quite a bit of time in Catania. I actually saw a mob hit in Catania once. Sure. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And it just go see the world, go out and do, because there's so many amazing things and amazing places to see. It's funny. I've lived in Utah for over 20 years. I'd never been to Moab until 2 years ago.
We're going this summer.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing.
I'm the same way because I'm the same. Like when I travel for my work now, I always book in extra days.
Go see things.
I went to Louisville and I came back and I went for that was the farm machinery show.
Yeah.
And I went to work and worked every day, and I flew home. And I come home like, oh, did you go to the Louisville Bat Company? I'm like, no.
I was just going to ask you that if you went there. I went in the cages, had a Louisville bat, and was hitting in the cages. Cool.
I went back for NAIL, which is North American Livestock Expo.
Okay.
And I booked an extra couple days, and I went to Louisville Bat Company, and I went in the cage. I think I hit Gehrig's bat, which the barrel was like.
They're
not
massive.
the barrel, but the
handle, right?
He had big hands.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, I feel like a kid.
Yeah.
I feel like an 8-year-old picking up an adult bat, But so I hit there. I went to the Muhammad Ali Museum. I did the paddle wheel casino. So I now booked time in to stop and see things. Yeah. Drives my wife a little crazy once in a while, but.
Yeah, but that's I mean, as long as you've gotten out there, and I mean, if you come to Moab before you come, let's get in contact and we'll go show you some cool parts of Utah, and go do some.
I want to go to Bonneville Salt Flats.
Bonneville Salt Flats is so cool. We went out there. That was part of, you asked about what we did in COVID. We went and saw our neighbors. We went and saw right around us, and we took my Ford F-150 out on the Bonneville Salt Flats and spun cookies, and it was so cool. And that salt, it's not like dry salt that you put. It's like mushy, right? It's kind of moist. I was getting salt out of the underside of my truck for 2 months, forever. But it's so cool, right? I mean, my kids, we had such a fun time. There's so many things to see right around the corner, and there's just go see, right? Yeah. Let's take advantage of all we missed over the last couple of years.
Well, that's JIFU. That's what that can really help. I mean, the savings is incredible.
It's crazy. And once we learned we call it the secrets to travel. Yeah. Once we learned what that really was, man, you want to talk about some buyer's remorse over the last 20 years.
Yeah,
I mean, again, we go and stay at one of our favorite places to stay is at the Newport Villas there in Newport.
Yeah.
Man, the amount of money that I could have been saving over the years taking my kids there, could have paid for all those dang trips to Disneyland or the deep sea fishing or, whatever it is. Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. My kids, just as at a point of reference, my kids think that staying at the St. Regis in Park City is a normal thing. Right. Because of the amount of money we save, or the Newport Villas, or
take them to the Knights Inn in Salinas, California.
There you go.
Quite be the same experience.
And that sounds so uppity from my part, but it's not, because with the amount of money that we've saved,
it's relative.
It's all relative, right? And if we can stay in fact, we were in Macau, and I grew up in a middle class family, right? My dad was a lawyer and eventually a judge. I think I mentioned that before, but we get into Macau after going throughout China. All my kids speak Chinese. They're part of a Chinese immersion program. Oh, gosh. And we get into Macau, and the best deal I found was at the Macau St. Regis. When you check in, your bags disappear.
Yeah.
I don't even know where they went.
There's not an option. Yeah.
Not an option. They just disappear. We check in, and they give us this rose water or something, so delicious, right? We get up to our room, and we'd been traveling through China. We were dirty, right? I mean, we were, our clothes were gross. It was hot. It was kind of the muggy. My kid was studying at the Beijing Language and Culture University. He was in the 9th grade. We sent him over to the university, picked him up, went throughout China, went to Xi'an and these different places. Anyways, long story short, we have a knock come at our door, and my little 9-year-old girl goes and gets it. And our butler and our personal concierge comes to the room. And they said, "We're here to unpack your bags."
Oh my gosh.
And we kind of look around. We're like, "We're okay.
No, we got it.
Well, we got it. Like, no, we said, "No, we don't want you to touch our gross stuff." They say, "Oh, if it's dirty, we'll take it and launder it for you." Right. And so my little 9-year-old girl's sitting there looking at him. They said, "Okay, well, can we at least get you a drink?" And I said, "Okay, well, do you have like a menu?" They say, "No, whatever you want, we'll get it. It's all complimentary." And I said, we're like, "Okay." And she goes, I said, "What's the best thing that you have?" And the guy says, "Our hot chocolate is the best in the world." So he said, "Okay, we'll have 4 hot chocolates." Because I had my 2 middle kids with us, right? So we sat down, we waited a few minutes, and they come back with like the Queen's china full of hot chocolate, put it down on the table. And we had, at this little table, we had the best hot chocolate I've ever had in my life, right? My 9-year-old girl thinks that's normal. It's not normal, right?
No, it's not.
Because the amount of money we saved, we were able to do that. So it was just fun. It was such a cool, and my favorite picture is her getting the instruction from the butler. I have a picture of it. That's cool. Where she's sitting up there looking at the guy, and he's explaining how they made the hot chocolate. It was such a cool experience, right?
Have your kids ever heard of shawarma?
What's shawarma? I don't know what shawarma is.
I couldn't spell it for you. I'd have to look it up. The guy's name is his Chinese name is Shawarma, NYC. If it's XIAMO whatever. He's got a YouTube channel.
Okay,
I'll look it up real quick.
Look it up.
He now makes a living because he speaks Chinese. He's a white guy, Jewish kid in New York City. Went to Beijing, learned Chinese, and he's a polyglot.
Oh, so polyglots amaze me.
He speaks Mandarin, Cantonese, Fujianese, Spanish. He learned Mayan. He learned all these languages. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mayan? And he went down to Mexico, and he was speaking in the Mayan area, and he learned Navajo. The language, the wind talkers.
Yeah.
So he went to the Navajo Nation in North Arizona and started speaking in Navajo, and they were like, "What are you doing?" And like, "Why'd you learn this?" And he's like, "Oh, that's what I do." But he now makes a living because of being able to translate and being able to speak Chinese. That's how I got started.
Yeah, it's so cool. I had my son when he's 11 years old translated for me in China.
4.6 million subscribers.
That's amazing. Yeah, you'll have to send me that link and I'll show it to my kids. My oldest doesn't, but my 17-year-old, actually 18-year-old tomorrow, 18-year-old, 11-year-old, 9-year-old, they spend half their day in Chinese is what they've done. It's a public school here in Utah, and they became fluent. I mean, my son's 18. He reads it, he writes it, he talks it, and so
he can now get 4.6 million subscribers. And not. I had somebody. They're really mad. They work at a corporate office in Denver, and they're my age, but they don't see they have an office. Anyways, I'm like, "So what do your kid want?" "Oh, my daughter wants to be a YouTuber." I'm like, "Oh, that's good." And she's like, I go, "What are you talking about?" I go, "Do you know how much YouTubers make?"
No.
She's like, "No, I have no idea." I go, "What do you think ballpark?" She's like, "I don't know, what, 50, 60 grand a year?" I'm like, "Oh, no."
Oh, no, some of them make so much money.
I go, no. I go, some of them are making that a month.
Oh,
if not more.
Yeah, my kids watch Mr. Beast. I don't know if you've ever watched
Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast.
No, not Mr. Bean. Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast. Yeah. I just saw him. He was on the Rogan podcast.
Yeah, he's amazing. Absolutely amazing what that guy has figured out. And yeah, it's just, again, that's what the internet's done, right? It's given him the ability. He didn't have to go get approval from NBC or ABC, right?
Correct.
Correct. That's what's so cool. And that creativity, that human creativity, to me, it never ceases to amaze me. It really doesn't. It's just
you should watch that his podcast, because he talks to Joe about it's pretty cool. He didn't spend all of his money. He didn't spend, he didn't go out and buy a big car. He's still living at home.
Yeah.
And making money. And he's like, "Oh, I'm saving it."
Save it. Yeah.
That's
a lost art, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of millennials haven't learned that part, so it might be a good thing to learn. So I don't want to eat up any more of your time. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it too. This has been a fun conversation.
Well, thanks for reaching out to me. I don't want. This is awesome. Maybe I can get an affiliate code or something, put it at the bottom of the link.
Well, what I'll do,
we'll
just get you an annual pass, and we'll just send it over to you, and then you can, people can go on and they can get free memberships from yours. So, if they want to try it out and look at it.
Then, well, I don't want the 50% savings. I want the.
No, I'll give you the full one. We'll give you one. So, yeah.
Dude, we're on it.
There we go.
This is why I started the podcast, because I know there's going to be a couple. I have some steady listeners that always come back to me, and like I have the celebrities and all that, but like this is phenomenal. This could be really helpful.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's our goal, right? I mean, we really do. We want people to be able to experience, right? That's the whole goal. I get it. My kids are so fortunate, right? And that's because we want to do it, right?
Sure.
I have neighbors that have much more expensive cars than me, and boats, and second home.
Yep.
We want our kids to have experiences, and if we can pass that on to other people, again, $25 is not going to break the bank, right?
No.
Especially when you see the amount of money you can save just on a weekend to Vegas, on a weekend to Southern California, on a weekend to the Bay Area. Don't
come to Southern California. You don't. we don't need more people here.
Well, we're going down there for a cruise this next whenever it is in a few weeks, and
you're going to be
Southern California. I love California. I absolutely love it.
You're going to be 20 minutes away from me. I'm in Redondo Beach, so I'm right. I drive over the port all the time.
Redondo Beach, I love that area. Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, my son and I are going to go golf at the Trump National. I've never golfed.
That had the most. You can tell your son that had the most expensive 18th hole in the country at one point.
Really?
Because it used to be called Ocean Trails Golf Course.
Okay.
And they're about to open up. My sister worked for Mazda corporate, and they had a celebrity golf tournament there every year for Mazda. And so I'd go just watch. And before they finished it, the 18th, I think it was the 18th part of the 17th slid into the ocean.
You are kidding.
They had a landslide, and it took out so they had to reconfigure the entire course. And that's why it's a short course. It's difficult, but it's short. And because the 18th, I think it was the 18th and part of the 17th, maybe part of the 9th.
It just fell into the ocean?
Yeah, because it's on the cliff. And it,
well, I was just looking, seeing what was close to the cruise port.
That's a good course.
Yeah, that's what I understand. There's so many beautiful courses in California, and again, I went to school in the Bay Area, and I loved it. It's amazing. And
did you ever play Olympic?
I've never played Olympic. I've golfed so little in California itself. But I mean, my son is heading off to college and heading out into the world, and I get to keep him for a little bit longer. Right?
What schools he's looking at?
He was actually he was accepted to Duke just the other day. He speaks fluent Chinese. They want him to go to their Shanghai campus and study in Shanghai. He's been accepted to a few schools here in Utah. He still has a bunch of applications out.
Well, there's only a few schools in Utah, so.
Well, that's true. There's not a ton, but he got accepted to UC Davis, UC Santa Cruz. He's still got applications in. He's still waiting to hear from Berkeley, UCLA. He was deferred at Harvard, meaning they wanted to push the next round.
Yeah.
He was interviewed by Wharton. So he's got some good options. He's a smart kid. He's a good kid, and being able to speak Chinese
that's huge.
It's huge. I mentioned a little bit. We went down and gave away 280 wheelchairs in Guanajuato State. We actually did that with the former president of Mexico, Vicente Fox. And so here, my 17-year-old got to rub shoulders with the former head of state and stay at his ancestral home. And it's such a cool experience. But you don't get to do that unless you go, right? You go and do things. And he and my oldest son raised $10,000 for wheelchairs. In fact, if you have time, listeners, go look at Chair the Hope. If you want a cool charity to, give some of that hard-earned money away, go look at Chair the Hope. It is phenomenal.
There's a link on your website for it too.
There's a link on our website.
I just saw it.
They are amazing. In fact, it's funny. I actually have their DVD right here. We know the people who started it. It doesn't show up very well with my background, but those are the kinds of things that make people better people, right? And going and doing those things. And they do trips all over the world to give away wheelchairs, but then you also got to go see, like, I know they have a trip going to Machu Picchu coming up.
Nice.
Where you go give wheelchairs away. And it's amazing. These people, anytime somebody complains about their own situation, go see what others do. We gave a wheelchair to a guy that hadn't been out of his bed in 8 years. One of our guys reached in, picked him up, put him into a wheelchair, And my 17-year-old took him, pushed him outside, and he hadn't been outside in almost 8 years. So just think about that for a second, and so yeah, so my kid's been able to do a whole bunch of things, and yeah, he's unique and a wonderful kid. So take your kids, go do things.
Be a good Utahian and have more kids.
We're good. We're done. My oldest son has a super, super rare bleeding disorder. And so we had a big space between Tyler and Thomas. There's 5 years. And then we had some miscarriages and stuff like that, and finally got our 2 little girls, but no, we're done. I'm 47. My wife is 46. We're good. We're putting good people out into the world. We think we've done our part.
I feel the same way. I'm just waiting for grandkids. I'm like, I'm good.
So yeah, you're right. Utahns have a lot of kids for sure.
Yes. I have several friends, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, because it's interesting that they're members of the Latter-day Saints.
Yep.
They don't say Mormons anymore.
Yep. And we are. We're Mormons. We're Latter-day Saints. Yep.
But you're not supposed to say Mormons, right? Or is that?
I found
I got corrected. That's why I got.
Yeah. When I say Latter-day Saints, people look at me and go, huh? What is that? Yeah. But we're, it goes back to whether or not we're Christians or not. That's always the debate. And so that's why we say Latter-day Saints, because we're actually the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, right? But we have a book called the Book of Mormon, and that's why people call us Mormons. And so when I'm overseas and I say, in Japanese, if I say Matsuji Seita Yesu Christo Kyokai, people are like, huh? But I say, oh, we're Mormon. And they're like, oh, I know Mormons.
I gotcha. Yeah.
So, but yeah. So Mormons have a lot of kids. There's some truth to that.
Well, yeah. I interviewed the food nanny, and she's just south of Salt Lake City.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she has 6 or 7.
Oh my gosh,
little ones.
Well, I come from a family of 6. My wife comes from a family of 6. So
that's the way it is.
That's the way it is. My older brother's got quite a few. He actually has. He has more than me. Let's put it that way.
I mean, you have to start getting on the second hand. You go, if you're a second hand person, you got a lot of kids.
Yeah, he has 7. So, and then he has a couple step kids too. So, so it's a
full house.
He has definitely a full house. That's for sure.
Awesome though. That's a good feeling though.
That's a good feeling.
What's the best? So you want people to follow you on Instagram?
Sure, they can follow us on Instagram. They just come to our website, jifu.com. Reach out to us. You can, message us or whatever. Again, I'll give you a yearly pass. Just put it on there, and it'll have your link. We can, travel.
Well, I'll do a little, because I'll put it on my website and all that.
Yeah, happy to do it. Yeah. Happy to do that. Again, we want people to see it. That's our goal.
I just want people to save money. I mean,
that's how we are.
Because if this podcast helps somebody save money, and then now they can go, hey, you know what, we can go to Disney World.
Yep. Well, again, we saved $1,500 going on this cruise. $1,500. I don't make one dime when somebody books travel. Not one dime. So all that savings, all that profit that goes to the bigger OTAs, that's yours. That's what we want.
Exactly. So, which gets more people to travel even more.
That's right.
So that's a win-win.
Yep. Supports those bellboys and those bellhops.
I don't think people understand. I mean, the supply chain, right?
It's massive.
It's food. It's laundry, and then it's the maintenance on the washing and dryer machines. It's like if you ever watched behind the scenes of a cruise, I mean it's
unbelievable.
That's a city underneath there. I mean, my wife loves cruises, so I went on my first cruise 4 years ago.
Oh, see, we love cruises. We haven't gone on one quite a few years.
Yeah. She went on them growing up.
We did too.
They flew out of Florida, so they did the cruises left out of Florida a lot.
Yeah,
because she lived on the East Coast. She grew up on the East Coast, and I never went on cruises. I was just like, And some people had a blast. Cruises.
Some people love them, and I love it because you get to see something different every day.
Yeah.
That's why you need to try different kinds of travel, right? Yeah. Go stay at a resort, go on a cruise.
Have you done a train trip?
We actually did. We went from Prague to a town called Chemnitz in Germany. You want to talk about such a cool way to see the world is
seems
training.
Like it's awesome. Yeah.
In fact, you talked about Japan. Most people don't know this, but if you're a foreigner, you can buy an all-you-can-ride train pass in Japan for $300.
Yeah.
That's riding the bullet train as much as you can for a week. And 2 weeks, I think, is like $450. I'd have to go back and look. as much as you want.
Yeah.
You just get on, you show that pass, they give you a seat, and you go. And you want to talk about a cool way to see Japan. You don't need to worry about getting in airlines. You fly into Tokyo, or you're flying into Osaka or wherever.
Yeah, that's what we were going to do.
Yeah. I mean, you can go, I think it took us 4.5 hours to go from Tokyo to Hiroshima.
So the
JR pass.
JR pass. Yeah, that's it.
And you're not going to have a better travel experience. It's clean. It's never dirty.
I live in Los Angeles. It's dirty, right?
Yep.
We were watching videos because we started learning some Japanese. My wife was going to take not a geisha class. It's the
like flower arranging, ikebana.
No, the girls that they don't call them geishas, but they're
hostesses.
A different name. So she was going to get all made up and do all that and get immersed, you know.
Yeah.
And that city, Tokyo, is so clean.
It's so clean.
And I'm like, where's the friggin' trash? Like, there's no trash on the ground.
Well, I could talk to you about Japan forever, but one of the things that they do right is the elementary kids do not have janitors in their schools.
Yeah, they don't need them.
They clean it.
Yep.
They take an hour out of their time each day. They actually help prepare the lunches, so kids appreciate the food.
Yeah.
They clean the toilets. They clean everything. And it's created this. In fact, I remember one of my favorite images of the Olympics was a few years ago when I think Japan lost in the semifinals in soccer. And the Japanese fans, obviously disappointed, they started cleaning up not just their area, but they saw over the next section. They started collecting the trash and throwing it away. And that's Japan. It's such a unique and beautiful culture. It's safe. There's no such thing as a ghetto, a poor area of Japan.
We did all that. We did all the research because we're like, if you come to LA, you better know kind of where you're staying.
You got to know where you're going for sure.
I could get you in Huntington Park really cheap,
Yeah, that's right.
But don't walk around there during the day or at night.
Yep. Even Hollywood. One of our favorite hotels is the SLS there in Hollywood.
Yeah.
You go out 2-3 blocks away and it gets a little bit scary. Tokyo, you never worry about it.
I know there's 39 million people in Tokyo Metro, which is more than California.
Yeah.
And more than the state of the entire country of Canada. And yet there's no trash.
There's no trash.
What's going on, man? Yeah. Like, where is it? It's got to be.
And people are helpful, even if you don't speak Japanese. I mean, I've been able to, maintain my Japanese. I have meetings all the time in Japanese. And so I'm fortunate that way, but everybody over there is willing to help. And we can even do a whole podcast on where to go to in Japan. There's just so many cool things.
If they're opening up in April, that means I'll be going soon.
Yep. Well, let's just connect and I'll tell you where to go and what to see.
But I've so many people, Merrill Davis and Todd Elders, they're ice skaters, Olympians, and they competed over there. And then they did their Stars on Ice and all that. Nothing but great things to say about Tokyo in Japanese. Yeah. Steve Stevens, guitarist for Billy Idol, lived there for 3 years or 2 years.
Yeah.
And recorded albums and just loved it over there. Everyone that's been there, I haven't met one person said, not my favorite. Not one person.
I haven't either. And even living there, I lived there for 3 years, and it's an absolutely amazing place. Absolutely amazing. And so, I've been back probably 30 or 40 times.
Wow.
And it's just every time it's fun. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. The food is amazing.
So let me ask you this. Is it flight wise, is it better to use Nippon, or you go on Delta, right?
I go on Delta. It doesn't really matter. What I would recommend though is to fly into Haneda. There's 2 airports in Tokyo. There's Haneda, which is right downtown. For years, everybody was kind of being pushed to Narita, but once you land, it's then another hour train ride into Tokyo. Yeah. Whereas Haneda is right downtown, and it's so much easier. You don't have all the amenities that Narita does. Like Delta doesn't have like a Sky Club there, but I don't care about that, right? I mean, to me, I'd rather save the time once I land and get into town. And Delta's pushing all theirs to Haneda. The Japanese Airlines, JL and ANA, they have flights going into both of them. But Haneda is definitely.
I think I don't remember now because it's 2 years ago, but we were flying in to one of the airports and then flying out of the other one.
And that's okay too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful train ride. You see, the rice paddies, and can see a little bit of the agrarian as you're going into this monster city. But that's the other cool thing about Tokyo is, unlike New York City, which again, I love New York City, you've got that Manhattan is just this monster, right? Yeah. You can be in the monster areas. I say areas because you can go to Shinjuku, you can go
Shibuya.
to Shinagawa, you can go to Shibuya, you can go to Ginza. They all have it, but it all feels like a neighborhood. That's what's so cool about Tokyo. It's such a wonderful place.
There's a couple of them, YouTubers that walk around. They don't talk. They literally put the camera's got to be on their head, and they just walk through Tokyo. Yeah. And you can see Shibuya and all the different territories and all that. Yeah. And this guy just walks around for hours.
Yeah. And it's fascinating, right?
Yeah. And we're like, oh my God.
Every time I go back to Tokyo, and I didn't live in Tokyo. I never lived in Tokyo. I lived near Nagoya, and then I lived up north in Hokkaido. Every time I go to Tokyo, I'm more amazed by that city. It's amazing. Osaka's amazing though too. Hiroshima.
Well, we were going to go down to, we were doing, I think we were doing 4 days in Tokyo and then 3 or 4 days in Kyoto.
I would break that up. When you go, let's talk. I wouldn't spend that much time in Tokyo. I would spend 2 days in Kyoto. I'd spend 1 day in Nara, which is just south of that. So Kyoto's the ancient capital, and then Nara's the ancient capital. I'd scoot over to Hiroshima. Hiroshima is amazing. Go to Miyajima. The Shinto shrine out in the middle of the water at Epcot.
Yeah,
that's modeled after Miyajima. And it's awesome. I'll send you a picture of my family standing in front of that. There's so many places to see in Japan.
I know.
Won't be disappointed.
We watched something on Amazon, and it was the car guy, and he went through Japan. He went from the northern tip where it was snowing all the way to the southern tip. Yep. And I don't think people understand that you can go to the north and be freezing. It's Russia. I mean, it's North Russia basically.
Yep. That's where I lived for 2 years when I was 19.
And then you go south, and you're in
beaches,
islands, like resort islands. There's no one there, because he went to them, and he went to one town, and there was literally no one lived there anymore. Yeah. Because they said everyone's moving to Tokyo.
Yep, everybody's moving to the cities. In fact, in Hokkaido, which is that top island just across the bay from Vladivostok, Russia, right? They used to have 2 entry doors. One which was up by the eave of the home. They'd have a door there, and then down below, because when the snow fell, they couldn't move it quick enough, so they started piling it in. So during the wintertime, they had the upper entrance, and during the summertime, they had the lower entrance. People have no idea how much snow falls in Hokkaido.
Yeah. And how beach resorty it is in the southern parts.
Oh, it's amazing. Absolutely. Yeah, there's beaches near Tokyo that you can surf and scuba, and you're just not that far away from Tokyo, and you can hit amazing beaches.
Yeah. So. Which it's just a lot of people though.
Yep. It's awesome.
Man, this is awesome. So hopefully I can't wait to maybe run into you one day when you're not hanging out with the ambassadors and all that.
That was a cool experience. But when you come to Utah, let's connect and we'll go show you and your family some fun things.
That'd be awesome. Really appreciate the time. And then I'll need you to send me a profile picture of yourself.
Okay, we can do that.
So as high res as possible.
You got it.
Check out JIFU.com. Go to is it JIFU Life on Instagram, right?
On Instagram it's at JIFU Life. Yep. Yeah, and actually on our website we have the links to all of our social media and our Facebook page and stuff like that too.
Yeah, so. And I'll have all the links on my page for our episode. So
that'd be great. That'd be awesome.
Cool, man. Thank you so much for the time, Brad.
Hey, thank you. We went a little longer than we probably thought, but this was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I know, man. This is why I started the show, though.
Yep.
So
awesome.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.